Hi, Joe Bastillos here with tonight's final thought. So I did take a little bit of time off, just a very busy schedule at work, and decided that I needed to take a little bit of a gap, a little bit of a break. And then also you notice I did make some changes. I was really frustrated with the audio levels of the previous recordings. And as much as I enjoyed the idea of, just going ahead and doing recording using just the iPad, and I'm sure that there will be times when I will use the iPad to do the recording. I have a very nice microphone here, and there's no reason for me not to use it for these recordings. Makes sense. And then also I was looking at other video podcasts out there, and many of them were very stylized and did a lot of jump cuts and other sorts of things. And here I was struggling with trying to get the whole thing done, in one shot. And I think, well, that's kind of silly. So I will probably go ahead and use some editing here and there for when I screw up, because that happens quite a bit. Already happened many times tonight. Hope you don't notice. Anyway, so tonight's topic is technology. And my thought was, technology, it's a marriage, not a friendship. And what brought this to mind was a visit to my local Costco, where I saw one of these guys. This is a Nabi 2 tablet, and it was being sold at Costco relatively inexpensively. I knocked the price out of the image. I think it was around $200, maybe a little bit less. And it reminded me of a couple years ago. I went to a conference, ISTE conference up in Philadelphia, and in the showroom where the vendors were, I saw all these no-name tablets being sold, to school districts and schools and educators, and it was an interesting thing for me, having been involved in technology for as many years as I've been involved in technology and in the classroom, et cetera. Well, number one, a lot of people come into technology and they're looking for the best bang for the buck. And nothing wrong with that. But from my experience, going all the way back to the 80s and my early first computers, the tendency to go too cheap almost always resulted in spending more money to get the things done that you originally intended to do with the technology that you're buying. So if you cut it too low, then you're going to end up spending more money to get that thing done, because you go cheap and you get cheap. And so that was the first thought that came to mind when I looked at this tablet, because I could just imagine a family seeing this being displayed at Costco and go, oh God, this is so much cheaper than an iPad. Let's get it. And my first thought is, okay, so once you buy the device, it's not just the device, it's always what either comes with the device, or in the case of these, a lot of these technologies, it's the ecosystem. But the idea is that you buy the device so that, especially these, the tablets type devices, it's never about just the tablet. If you just go with the spec sheet of the tablet, it's not that. It's always, what can you accomplish with the device, and does it do what you want it to do, because you've got the available software. It's a growing ecosystem is what they, I guess maybe it's one of the sound bites that's always being used with these things. But it did concern me, because I could just easily see, a family going or somebody going and buying one of these things and then taking it home, and number one, it isn't what they wanted, and so there's that, and that's never fun. And then the other part is then, okay, let's go out and see what we can get to do with this thing. And a lot of them, so I did a little bit of research to try and figure out what would run on this device, and started here with I did the whole Google search and found an article by Tech Advisor talking about their experiences with the device. And I was happy to find out that it does run Android, because like I said, when I saw these devices a couple years ago, these were just they were taking the idea of the tablets that were, in resurgence following the introduction of the iPad back in 2010, and putting together these devices, but not necessarily thinking about how they worked with other stuff or even how the software itself worked, et cetera, et cetera. And so, I could easily imagine somebody buying one of these devices, getting it at a knockoff price, and then realizing that there's nothing that would run on it, and it's, a crappy operating system. So I was happy to find out that this does run Android, so at least it has that going for it. And I'll put a link to this particular review. And as far as Android tablets, it seems like it's a pretty decent Android tablet. And there's a couple videos out there where they talk about the review, and it does seem to be pretty robust. And it was it's a kid designed, or a device designed primarily for kids. And this particular reviewer kind of enjoyed it. But it is one of those sorts of things. It's kind of funny, as many of the tablets, including some that were just recently announced, are getting thinner and thinner and thinner. This one's kind of claim to fame was that it's big and bulky and can handle a little bit of rough stuff. You can, again, it works on Google Play, which is also a recent update. It originally, when first introduced, didn't have that option, so you would have to buy stuff in the Nabi store, and it tended to not be inexpensive. You're not just buying the one single thing, you're buying the whole ecosystem. So it's got to be not only the hardware, but the user interface that works with it. How simple is it? And then can you get the kinds of games and things that you want that your kids are going to be wanting to use on that particular device. So that's my rambling thought of the night. I may edit some bits out because I can do that. On a completely different note, I went to my local comic book store, and recently I had talked about my action figures and my poor G.I. Joe, and I did seem to find another G.I. Joe here, and it was relatively inexpensive, under $20. And so my question is now, is this guy is still in the box with the seal on it, and I'm questioning. Well, actually, it's broken now, but I'm kind of questioning whether I want to take it out of the box or not. Previously, I'm notorious. I think that the toys should be taken out of the box and shared, because I'm not buying it to, I'm not buying it for a collection to make money. I mean, I'm buying it because I think these are cool, and this guy's got a gun, and he's even got a helmet. But I'm still kind of wondering whether or not I should really fully take them out of the box or not. So that's kind of the question that I'm dealing with, is technology, and then collectible toys. So that's my rambling thought for the night, and I hope that you guys have a good week, and I will see you next time, and have a good one. Bye.